So, hi. Today I wanted to talk about something. I'm just going to share from my experience, my thoughts, my perspective, and what prompted me to this topic is I see something going around that talks about how people are upset what Oprah Winfrey has said about Whitney Houston. And Whitney Houston is one of my favorites. I'm always going to side with her, even though if I'm in deep conversations or with multiple people, I try not to take sides. I try to listen to multiple sides of coins and stuff like that. But in this case, me being by myself, I am going to take a side on this, and I want to talk a little bit deeper about it. And I want to start with the shirt I'm wearing. So I was in Harlem, and they were yelling at from their table, dollar shirts, and I saw on the table, I went straight to the Knicks shirts, and they was like, oh no, not these. These are not $1. So I got a couple of these shirts that I have on, and no, I haven't Googled or looked up whoever's on here. I was like, I'm gonna wear this loud and I'm gonna wear it proud for $1. I got this here one and another one from in Harlem. But okay, so the conversation I wanted to talk about has to deal with substance abuse, or I never noticed this on top of Grand Central. Let me show you this. Oh no, I can't show it to you now. I'll show it at the end. Or I don't know how to switch it around while I have it on this side. Is addictions, substance abuse, things of that nature, and how to protect oneself, and how it hurts when others, no matter how much money you have, no matter how little money you have, when others talk about other people without giving a solution, without helping, without, and I know it's frustrating because it's very hard to deal with. And those are the lines I wanted to talk about today. It's not easy. Whether you're working in a hospital dealing with patients, whether you have family members, whether you have friends, whether you have friends that have somebody, or family members that have their friends or family that deals with situations like this. And what I'm going to do is read after I type something in, and according to my experience and what I have went through and seen, and it may help someone. It may open the eyes to think differently or total opposite than what I'm thinking. And here we go. So okay, so for example, you're not crazy, dramatic, or selfish for feeling hurt and confused when someone throws you just come and go as you please in your face while you're the one holding everything together. In real life, especially where mental health issues and substance use are present, those words can land heavy. They hit the part of you that's already tired, already questioning yourself, already wondering, am I doing enough? Am I the problem? And I want to talk about that from a wider lens. Not just one relationship, but what happens to a lot of us when we love people who are struggling with addiction, trauma, and untreated mental health issues. when working in healthcare and caring with compassion, things of that nature. And I want to do it in plain language, grounded in what research tells us about addiction and family dynamics, plus what we know from living and possibly working in the reality of being the responsible one in the middle of it. When phrases like, "you come and go as you please," isn't really about you in families or with patients or customers where drugs, alcohol, or untreated mental health issues are in the mix. Conflict rarely matches the surface words. "You come and go as you please," or "you got this cushion job," often isn't about your literal movement. It's code for a few deeper things, like control and fear. When someone is actively using or emotionally unstable, their words feel shaky, unpredictable. They don't feel in control of themselves, their cravings, their moods, or their life. So they reach for control wherever they can get it. Usually the people closest to them or the people responsible for their care, like in hospital settings. One way that shows up is attacking your independence, your schedule, the way you are trained to administer care plans, your comings and goings, your boundaries. If they can box you in, they feel a tiny bit less powerless. And then we have dependency and resentment. They may rely on you for childcare, money, rides, emotional support, taking care of their medical and mental needs while in a hospital environment or just basic functioning. At the same time, they hate the fact that they rely on you. That mix of "I need you" and "I resent needing you" can come out as criticism, sarcasm, and picking fights over small things, like the medication you prescribed them, like the mental health screening you encountered with them as a licensed physician or social worker, like a family member or friend, your phone, your schedule, your hobbies. The next one is shame and projection. People dealing with addiction and mental health challenges often carry deep shame about their choices, their behavior, their parenting, their life not looking how they imagine. Instead of facing that shame, they throw it outward. "You're selfish. You don't help. Your schedule is fake. You don't know what you're talking about. You're dumb." Those statements say more about how they feel about themselves than they do about you. It's projection, which may look like dumping their internal chaos onto the safest available target, which can be you. But it does mean this. Those words are about their pain, their illness, and their fear, not about your worth, your sanity, or whether you're a good person or not. Another one here is boundaries are not cruelty. They're survival. There's a dangerous lie many of us absorb, especially as healthcare workers, parents, caregivers, or strong friends, that loving and going to work, caring for someone who is struggling means saying yes to everything and everyone and saying no to only yourself. In reality, healthy boundaries are one of the few things that protect everyone involved. You are allowed to say no about your things, your phone, your car, your money, your bed, your privacy. Say no about your time, even if you are staying with someone, even if you love them, even if you're family. Say no about the type of medication you decide to prescribe or plan of care that you see fit from your training and possibly your experience. Have a real schedule and real priorities. Take your breaks at work the same way taking your breaks in a home or with personal phone calls. Like work, rest, spiritual practices, joy, hobbies, even something like going to the casino, the gym, church, a walk, or just sitting in silence. Refuse to be dragged into an argument you can feel brewing from a mile away. A simple way to look at it and speak about it: their house, whether it's family or structured shelter, there are rules about the physical space. Your shoes are on or off. Quiet waiting rooms, noise, visitors, smoking, etc. As opposed to your life, whether it's your non-controlling thoughts and lifestyle, can equal your rules about your body, your time, your money, your devices, your time slots for other patients, and your emotional safety. Those two realities have to stand side by side. If you give up your rules about your own life just because you're required by law to take care of all patients equally, or you are under someone else's roof, you start erasing yourself. And once you erase yourself, the resentment and burnout comes quickly. So here to protecting yourself when you're in the mix. When you work with, live with, depend on, or are constantly around someone struggling with addiction or serious mental health issues, you are inside the blast zone. You feel every mood swing, every crisis, and every guilt trip. Here are some grounded ways to protect yourself without becoming cold or hard. Name what is happening, at least to yourself or in hospital situations with staff that you are comfortable with. Then that gets it without judgment. The illest ways. Those who really, really understand. This is not about the way I take care of my patients or in family, friend situations. Not about me giving up my phone. This is about control. This is his or her shame talking, not the truth about me. This is addiction speaking, not all of whom they are. Naming it keeps you from absorbing it as your identity. Use simple, repeatable boundary statements. You don't need speeches. You need short lines you can say even when your heart rate is up. Similar to, I'm not willing to be spoken to like that. I'm going to step away. I hear you're upset. My answer is still no. I'm willing to help when I can. I'm not available right now. State the boundary and the consequences together. Think in a calm, 3-step manner. Name what is happening. You're raising your voice, calling me names. State your line. I don't accept being spoken to that way. State the consequences. I'm going to call the hospital police to handle this situation, or I'm going to my room. I'm leaving this conversation. I won't discuss this further today. Have an exit plan emotionally, even if you can't leave physically yet. Your exit plan might look like it's break time at work, or a relative, friend, or neighbor you can call when things escalate. If you can call a loved one at home on your break, or being in a person's home, put your stuff in storage nearby. Know where the safe drop-in centers are in your area. Don't be ashamed to go to homeless shelters or things of that nature if you need to get to safety. A mental list of X happens. I will remove myself for Y amount of time. X and Y. Sometime can equal Z. Get your own support. It can weigh on you at times in the workplace or as non-qualified individuals in personal relationships. You deserve spaces where you're not the strong one all the time. Therapy, even for providers, peer support, spiritual communities, or for families, friends, and loved ones. Groups like AI-ANON, I-ANON, or NAR-ANON, NAR-ANON, and Families Anonymous are built for people who love someone with addictions that are not for the person using, but for those who have friends or possibly loved ones that use. You need your own recovery too. Recovery from chaos, from guilt, from over responsibility. Now, support versus enabling, the line that saves you. When we care about someone who is struggling, we want to help, but not every help is actually healthy. In this context, it helps to distinguish. Support might look like walking them to appointments with the hospital, within the hospital environment, and advocating for them. Watching kids when you genuinely have the energy and capacity to do it. Offering a ride to an appointment or a program they choose when sober. Listening and encouraging healthy decisions when they're in a clear headspace. Sharing resources, a hotline, a meeting, a program, and then stepping back. Enabling might look like saying yes out of fear of a blow up, not out of real willingness. Handing over prescriptions of their choice, money, valuables, or access to things that can be misused. Absorbing insults, manipulation, or disrespect just to keep the peace. Clearing up every mess so they never feel any consequences of their own actions. You're not obligated to destroy your own mental health to prove that you love somebody or love the patients that you care for on a daily basis. Real love sometimes look like, I love you and I will not participate in my own destruction. Here's some science-backed truths they give about addiction and family. From research and clinical practice, there are a few key truths that matter here. Addiction is a chronic, relapsing condition that affects the brain's reward, motivation, and stress systems. That doesn't excuse harm, but it explains why logic and guilt trips don't work the way we wish they did. Family members, workplace environments, staff, and or friends of people with substance use disorders often experience high levels of anxiety, depression, and trauma symptoms themselves. You're not imagining it. Being in the mix affects your nervous system too. boundaries and consistent consequences paired with compassion are more effective long term than rescuing and over-functioning. People are more likely to pursue real help when the people around them stop shielding them from every consequence. Support for the staff member, family, and or friends, therapy, support groups, education improves outcomes for everyone involved, including the person using. So when you get therapy, when you go to a family group, when you say no, when you step away from chaos, you are not abandoning them. You are working the part of the problem that is actually yours to work, your side of the street. Practical ideas you can use today. Here are a few concrete practices you can begin to fold into your real life. Pick one boundary to practice this week, not 10. For example, I will not argue when voices are raised. I will walk away. Decide in advance what you will say instead of arguing. I'm not doing this right now. We can talk when we're both calm, or even silence plus physically leaving the room. Identify at least one support space that isn't tied to the person who is struggling, that isn't tied to the person who is struggling. A group, a friend, a trusted or comfortable feel of a coworker that gets it. An online community, a spiritual space. Give yourself permission to have joy and rest that have nothing to do with caregiving. You are allowed to have a life outside of crisis. And that's just what I wanted to share today. That Whitney Oprah thing just kind of had me thinking about that, and plus experiences that I may have gone through personally or worked with in the workplace environment or just everyday living. And you see things also within the communities. It just gives a little bit of help. And one thing I know is that, like it says, you want to guilt trip people into doing right. You want to hit them upside the head with whatever book you have to get them to do right, or the way you want them to do, or way you want them to do things. But I know for me, when I do wrong, none of that helps. None of that guilt tripping, none of that hit me upside the head, or saying nasty things to me, or talking about me to other people and trying to embarrass me. None of that stuff helped. But what I did want to share is, back in the day, when I used to listen to Trent Shelton all the time, and just going through my little personal journey. And go to his, if you're interested in his podcast, he has some good, videos and listening data on his podcast. And, just start from the bottom, go all the way up to the top is what I did one time. And it really helps, whether you're coming out of these type of, or any type of horrible relationships, or you being a horrible person, or a person that you want to change from being. These videos help. And one thing he would always say is it all starts with you, right? And people gotta want to do things different. And what I have noticed is, when people watch you, they start to do different, even though it's hard for them, because certain chemicals can mess the brain up. And then if you already have certain mental conditions within the brain, it makes it harder. And then I remember at work one time somebody said, but they keep going back. And that's one of the things that relapsing is a part of the process, you know. And those that are strong enough that want to, it all starts with them to keep going and keep trying without getting, you're gonna get frustrated, but without stopping to keep trying, even though there's a relapse, even though there's a setback, because you know what was good when you came out of it and how it made you feel good. And then you just keep going back and trying to get to that spot. But when you find different things within your heart and your body and your mind and your soul that you want to do for yourself, not somebody else telling you what to do, that you enjoy doing, regardless if somebody don't like it, regardless if somebody say you shouldn't do, you know, sow the soul that you like, or say the rap that you like, or just do the things that you love to do, which brings you joy. It's gonna cut down on those things, you know. And I'm gonna leave it at that today. And for those that put people down, whether they know that the addictions are hard, whether they don't have any clue about the addictions, how the addictions can be hard, whether they don't give a damn about how addictions can be hard or not. I think what I want to say is, I was going to say something very not nice to those type of people, but I let it go. I'll let it go. Let it go, Daddy. Let it go.